Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of I Am I. My name is Joshua Ansley, at least in this incarnation. And it is my birthday this week. Thank you. And so naturally I was thinking about death, right? Of course, why not? And actually, I just had a very sobering moment. Actually, when I got here, I was, it's funny and light and fun. I tried to do it at a funeral home. I asked them if they had an extra empty casket that I could hang out in front of, and they were like, Jerry, can you come out here? So that didn't go over well, so I figured I'd come over to a cemetery. And, I just got here, and there's this little James here, Jimmy, walks with the angels. And I was like, making it silly, like, hey, who swims with the fishes or walks with the angels, and then it's just, he was born right the same year that I was, except he died 12 years later. It's just very sobering when you really start to think about it, like the fragility of this life, and how special it really is, how special every breath is, how close breath and death are, right? There's only one thing in between, and it's to see. It's so fucking cheesy. I can't believe I actually said that. I was thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, man, because like one starts with a B and one starts with a D, and the only thing in between is to see that your life is so beautiful. Right, Jimmy? It is, though. So, naturally, this week, I was obviously going to talk about death, right? But really, to understand this, I want to go into a much deeper aspect of life, right? Is this eternal principle. The eternal principle, as I spoke about last week, the Alpha and the Omega. It is that same principle, that same thing. It all fucking comes back to the self. It just all goes back to the self. All of it, right? And from that space of the eternal nature of who you are, from the sense of humility, recognizing that we are not this body and this mind. No fucking body. Nobody that has ever lived has not died yet. I mean, I'm thinking maybe I could be the first one. Fingers crossed, right? So nobody has ever fucking not died. Everybody. Right, Jimmy? So we have to recognize with humility that this, and some people, if they don't want to believe in the eternal principle, they find freedom in just recognizing how beautiful life is because it is so fragile. And so we have to live it to the fullest, right? So some people think, well, if you have eternal life, because if you think of it in the cyclical nature, like the Eastern philosophy, or I say Eastern, that's so vague, but even even to say Hindu religion or whatever is so vague, but it's a cyclical thing, right? So that when anything, it's recognized in life, in the breath, as a rise and fall of the breath, in that cyclical nature, that at any time, really the only problem with death is that we just don't fucking know. So the mind doesn't know, we don't know what it is, so we're naturally going to be fucking terrified of it. But what if it's the greatest thing ever? Now hold up, if you have any suicidal ideation or, any sort of, what's it called? Rumination or something like that. Let's remember the preservation of life, right? It's to step into that unknown, because don't worry, that unknown is coming. That unknown is coming for all of us. Though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Everybody rosy's lips and cheeks come in between, okay, let's start over again, Josh. Even rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Everybody comes into the swing of that sickle. Okay, let's start over again, Josh. The main thing here is to understand that when you contact that eternal principle, when you really experience it, and let me tell you something, I have experienced it. Always run when people tell you they know God, unless it's me. Then listen to me. Just kidding. But am I? But I'm telling you from my own personal experience that I have contacted that space and understand it. And of course now as Joshua Ansley, I go out into the world and I'm fucking stuck in my mind and my body all the time. That's why I'm always working with this principle. And understanding that in that death is where we are reborn, right? So we talk about this space of being born again, right? And that's born again, God hates fags, that kind of thing, bullshit. right? We're not talking about these stupid religious beliefs. We're not talking about blind faith. We're talking about an actual personal experience with the eternal principle and actually understanding that, or I say beyond understanding, but experiencing it. So from that space, it's really knowing that there is no death, or that death is really just an unknown, so that it carries on, and that really then changes our lives in a way that, if you read the Tao Te Ching, it talks about if you contact that source, then you will be as kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king. You can handle anything that life gives you, and when death comes, you are ready. It is by dying that we are born into eternal life. So really, metaphorically, then we understand, if we look at, maybe we look at the book of Revelation, right? In the book of Revelation, we perceive that as like the end times, apocalyptic times, the second coming, and it's all going to be the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. From an esoteric perspective, it's the end of the world as we know it, as we ascend into higher levels of consciousness, right? So that's a powerful thing, because there is a literal death of the old self. If you want to grow, the true spiritual life is the death of the old self. We literally have to let those old ideas, those old belief systems, everything die. And it's really just afraid. And it really is a death, because it's the death of everything that you now think that you are. You think you are something else. And what you really are, you want to be born into that. So Krishna talks about it, Christ talks about it, it's present everywhere, right? Bruce Lee was talking about it all the time, about death, and become intimate with death, come close to death. The kleshas, one of the obstacles to the spiritual path, is clinging to life. We have to not cling to life, right? Of course, we support life, we let it grow, we let it go. We surrender into the flow of life, understanding that we will die, but we contact into that eternal principle, and it will absolutely transform your life. There is so much freedom in that. There is so much freedom in recognizing that you are not this body and you are not this mind. You are not everything that you think you are. You are not the way you think it's supposed to be. You are not your expectations of other people. You are not your emotional experiences. You are not even your emotional joy. Sure, let's practice joy. Let's move towards that, because that is definitely a positive thing. But what you really are is absolute ultimate bliss. When you experience that eternal principle where you unite with everything, right? Become one with everything. Your life, I just wish I could fucking convey it to you. I wish you could understand me. I wish I could fucking understand me. You know, but I'm telling you, it's there. Just ask these guys. Huh? Silence. What? Too much? Oh. And when you do go, just remember, try to cruise off in a caddy. Yeah. Really? I mean, a Cadillac? You're dead. You're dead. Why do you need a Cadillac? You're fucking dead. You don't need a Cadillac. Just burn me and fucking spread me over some tacos and eat the tacos and then poop me out. That's what you can do with me. You don't need to put me in a Cadillac. I don't need a fucking Cadillac. I don't need a Cadillac when I'm living. For Christ's sakes.